Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Cities Skylines 2. In today's episode, we are going to be adding some details into the downtown area of the city. There's a ton that I had to do, so I sort of just recorded and sped it up, but I'm going to be here with you guys through this whole entire journey, so I hope you guys do enjoy. Vanguard is turning into an amazing realistic city, and if you guys have any tips or tricks, please let me know. Before we get into this though, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and hit that bell button to make sure that you are notified every single time that we post a video. And hopefully you get some ideas from this that might go ahead and help your city pop out. One of the first things that I wanted to do was I saw a lot of cities that had like foliage to them. There was a lot of cities that really stuck out to me because they had the palm trees that are going down the sides of the roads. You had different bushes or something that split up roadways. Roadways might have been parted into two sections, both one ways, maybe 3 or 4 lanes on both sides. Then there might have been like water in the center and stuff. We didn't have enough area to do something like that, but I figured that we could have added in some more trees to the roadways. So that's exactly what we did. And then I accidentally deleted that. I became in shock there. I wish I would have had my microphone rolling because I recorded that and I was like, oh no, I accidentally deleted that whole building, so hopefully it built back in quickly. But it was pretty hilarious within the original being of me destroying those. And then we added some low rent housing over in this area. I felt like this cul-de-sac was a good place to put the low rent housing. There's actually going to be extra buildings and stuff that I do end up putting into this area right here, but I wanted to keep everything sort of spatial to the point of how a actual city would be put together. So you might have on the outskirts the low rent housing and stuff, but as you get towards the center, it's more office spaces, commercial buildings, different sporting events and stuff of the sorts. So that was something that I wanted to keep in mind as well. I wanted the city to sort of flow like a normal city would, and I'm basing this off of not the layout of it, slightly the layout of it, but I'm basing more or less the way that I construct it within the density of it on Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is very close to me. I am within driving distance of Pittsburgh, so it's pretty much like my home city almost. I can't claim it as a home city though because the town that I live in was like the big thing back in the 70s beforehand. But Pittsburgh's pretty cool, and I had some people as well tell me that there was some realism to the other part of our city, which is the town part that they had outside of Heathrow Airport in the UK. They said that that part of the city almost looks exactly like some parts of Heathrow. So that was awesome to hear that like my realism was really coming too. But this view, like I kept getting stuck on this view. I love this view, and I understand that the Southwest um, sort of buildings and stuff that you have for the commercial ones, they don't have any stands for the signs. But even the hallways over at like the college and the football stadium, just views. Like if you were in a dorm room and stuff over there, like you would still see across the city to see the downtown area. And the downtown's so split apart from other stuff, it's going to end up forming in. It's definitely going to have it's definitely going to be tied in some way. So I'm excited to go ahead and get that tied in as we wrap around like the town around it. There's going to be this part, and then right across the waterway, there's going to be another part to the city. Right over there on the right hand side, there's going to be another part to the city. That's where I'm going to end up putting the college campuses and stuff over there. It's going to be less densely populated. It's going to be more like the Oakland sort of area of Pittsburgh. It's more medium density. You got like Duquesne University and stuff over there. You got Pittsburgh University as well. Those sort of places are what's going to be over across on that pretty much island piece that sits right there. So that bill is exciting. I've already done it by the time of this recording. That bill is exciting, and I hope you guys enjoy that one as well. But I was sort of trying to piece in things that sort of felt correctly to where they should go, and I didn't want this to be just almost like I was just placing things randomly throughout the city. So it was one of the things that I really kept close eyes to. I wanted to not I didn't want to feel forced whenever I was putting stuff down, and I wanted to stay detailed. I wanted to stay on top of things. Like even me just pulling that stuff out to the road to make sure everything blended correctly with the base decals and stuff under the buildings. That was something that really stuck out to me. So I wanted to make sure I had that, and I wanted to make sure that we had telecommunications as well. So we went ahead and put that building down. It felt like that was a good spot to put it. And I don't know how. Let me know how you guys feel about this football field right here. I've been back and forth on the football field over and over for the point of I don't know if it feels correct with it sitting there or if we should just build a big stadium. Because I know that there is like the college, that this is the high school football stadium that's sitting there, so that might make sense. But I know like Pitt itself as the university, they use however you say it, a Cruiser Stadium, AccuShore Stadium, whatever it is now. They used that as their football stadium for the college, but it's the Steelers' home stadium. So there's a little bit of back and forth to that. And I also believe PNC Park is used by Pitt for their for their baseball stadium. So that might be something that we do. We might put in a football stadium and baseball stadium that pretty much work as both the college and professional sports teams. So we shall see. We shall see. But I needed to get this railway situated, and I have some back and forths with this railway. I wanted to keep sort of the same bridge design going on, and it's upsetting because the bridges, arches, and stuff they didn't match up. But I tried to get this as perfect as possible. I ended up deleting this completely and restarting over on it just because it didn't feel like the train would be able to make these turns and stuff once this bridge was over here. If I was going like straight 180s and stuff, you'll see how this turns right here. Way too steep. It's like a 12% grade, and it just was not going to work if I did that. So I take this the whole ways back and I straighten this out to go more towards the side of the bridge here. So I take a complex curve, straighten it out over this way right beside the bridge, and from there I add on the secondary bridge. And let's see, I was having a lot more troubles than I remember having with this. So I put that in, and then this flows a little bit better once I get that all connected back and through. So we're going to take this straight out there. This is going to go somewhere else at some point, but for right now, we just needed the passenger train terminal to be over here. So we will get this connected in here, so that will go through with that. That doesn't connect as it should, though, because it's too close to the bridge, so there can't be a connection piece in that area. If I take it that way, that's too sharp, so I have to do a complex curve and turn it to the left and turn it back to the right in order for that to connect. So hopefully that is realistic enough, but I believe it's not going to be realistic enough. And then I have this one come out and just go straight to the right. The bad part about that is that tracks that go on that route actually aren't able to get to anywhere unless I were to take that track out towards the other side of the city to the edge of the map in that route. Just because there's no way for the trains to turn around. But I do go ahead and make some trips over through here. As you'll see, I'll try to take it off of the other terminal there and put it out. There's no pathfinding available. I got sort of confused about it, but then I went in and selected from the other track, and the pathfinding is found right away. So that's all situated. We'll see if we can figure out something different. I might end up moving that train station, but I just know that the city itself needed a train station within this lower part of downtown, just to go ahead and try to solve some of the issues with traffic and stuff. Now, there was no trains going to that because I didn't build another train depot. It's always going to say that there's no trains. We fixed that later on. Once I fixed that, the amount of traffic drastically decreases. And this is a custom asset here. I will link in the description my mod pack that I'm using. You'll be able to go ahead and follow suit with it exactly the within the way that I am using everything. So I end up putting that in there, and then with Anarchy, I was able to put this parking garage right beside this building, so it almost feels like it's supposed to be in this spot. And I actually do something a little special with this area as well. I don't know if I do that right now or if I do it at a later time. I end up moving this parking garage. I know that because the parking garage was too close to the one building. I felt like it wasn't realistic enough. I felt like that was very tight, so I do end up moving it out towards the road a little bit. So I take that step away and I get that path in between. I do it right here. We do invisible paths. So I have a sort of knack for doing these invisible paths for the pedestrian paths. So I'll connect it from the roadway to the other roadway. This is going to make it that people aren't traveling to intersections and stuff as much or walking around the block as much as they would have before. So I add these paths out to the roadway to make sure that people can just walk through this complex, sort of give this building some life to it. So I did like the idea of that, and then I got rid of these trees as well. Whenever there is an asset that I figured out because of Brickworks. So if you have Brickworks installed, you'll see that you actually get trees that are already in planters. I don't know if you guys ever saw me put down the planters and then I put the trees inside of them. They have that with Brickworks now, so that's something that goes through. And I also absolutely love, I don't know if you guys are seeing it right there, but next to this middle building in the city there is a water finish to it. I don't know if I'll zoom in anywhere near it, but it is right over top of it right now. Right there to the right, there is a water basin right there in the middle, right here. This is absolutely beautiful. I love the way that this looks. That was sort of a key feature that I absolutely wanted in the city. I moved things around just to make sure that I could have it and put it there. And there's also a few buildings that are within the mod sets that you're going to see that if you don't have anarchy and don't turn off snapping, that the building actually overlaps the road. And it's because like the basin of the building doesn't actually have any decal to it to make it the certain square size and stuff. It was sort of almost like somebody just went in and took the like CAD formation or whatever it may be for them to get the design of the building into the game. There was no basin to it. Right beside the low rent housing, we went ahead and put the filming studios right there. I feel like that was a good spot, and we already have a subway system and everything underneath the city. That was something that we took care of in the last episode. And I'm sort of falling in love with this downtown. Please let me know what you guys think of this downtown because I'm absolutely falling in love with it. Absolutely, especially the larger buildings that look like they might be basketball stadiums or something of those sorts. I know that they have the. I don't. I'm still not sure if it's Japanese or Chinese writing that's on those buildings, but still, I am very pleased with them being in the city. They're great assets. If there was a way to remove just the lettering and stuff off of it to make it feel quote unquote more realistic for what the city is, since this is like a either a UK or a United States sort of thing, that'd be awesome. But leaving them as is, no issue with it whatsoever. And we fell in. I'm having these traffic issues all around town, and the reason for them is because I have taxi stops in terrible spots, and things are getting gridlocked. And there's absolutely no way to fix this except for doing what I'm doing here, which is deleting all the sub elements. So I delete these subway trains and stuff, and then this allows people to start moving across the city. It ends up there was no traffic lights there to stop the traffic from moving in the way that it was. But there was so many people right here. Just so many people in this intersection just because they got all gridlocked. And you'll see that some of them aren't even using the overpass to get up over. They'll actually just walk across the street, which I don't understand why they walk across the street if I don't have the ability for you to. I took away the crosswalks, so don't do it. They still do it. But this all gets cleared up. I'm seeing that there is an issue with the parking lot flowing into the roadway right there. Don't know if it's something that I completely fixed, but I believe I sat here and watched it for a second, and eventually it does get fixed. So I was just seeing if it was going to fix itself, but I ended up deleting those vehicles, and then I switched this roadway to a different roadway. And the reason why people kept coming out this way was because it allowed them to just do a quick left turn. Well, no longer. They now have to go one way in the other direction for that to work. So hopefully that clears up some traffic in that area. And then back over to downtown. It always says that there's traffic here. There's really not traffic. I mean, it's normal merging onto the highway. So that's something. This is the spot that will get cleared up. Eventually, this will get cleared up. And it's because the train lines were not running at this point in time. So once the train lines get running, this area right here will get fixed. I also noticed that with me having all the middle medians on the roads, it causes people to have to drive to the end of the street, do a U turn, and drive back down through. So there is some roads eventually that I'm going to switch to just be normal two, well, 4 lane roads in two directions without the median separating them. It allows traffic to flow a lot better because people aren't forced to go from intersection to intersection making U-turns and causing traffic issues just because they're trying to get from one side of the street to the other side of the street from building to building. So definitely gets fixed up. And I'm not sure what else I put down here. I know that I don't put the central bank and stuff. That's something that I'm going to save for the other port of town. Um, I don't know if I'm truly going to use it full 100%, but there is a high probability that I do. This gets placed over in the regular port of town just because I didn't want it in the city. I thought this was going to be a lot bigger, but it's actually smaller than I thought. So I actually put it over here in the center part of town, almost as the city hall, sort of, to a point. And it's a customized building. This is a real life building here that somebody put into the game. This is on my mod playlist, so if it's something that you're looking for, it's on the mod playlist. Just follow suit on it, get it downloaded. There's tons of custom assets. There's probably going to be new ones that are coming out as I'm recording this video. I have not checked the Paradox mods in like 3 or 4 days, so there's probably a ton of them that are out right now. But I do some traffic fixes and stuff. I'm not sure exactly what is right and what is wrong, and then I moved some things because we sort of destroyed the gas station. The gas station didn't get fully destroyed, but we did end up having to move it. And I didn't know you don't have to put down vehicles apparently on these parking spaces. If you just have the parking spaces, people will actually just move in off the road and park in those parking spaces just to use them. So that is a thing as well. And I don't, if you guys have a fix for the traffic that's coming into the port of town here for the industrial area, please let me know. I think that I have to expand the industrial area to be somewhere else as well, so we're going to figure that out here at some point. But right now, the traffic is a slight issue to it. So if we could get it fixed, we'll get it fixed. But for right now, definitely a lot of traffic issues. Definitely too many people walking around. Since the bike update, I feel like I have 58,000 people in my city, and all 58,000 walk across the city at all times. So that's a great thing. And I started having issues with the hearse and stuff. If you guys haven't already, make sure that you build districts around what you're doing, especially when you get into these areas of the high density like city bases, because if you aren't doing things with districts, you're going to have your services in your city that are actually going to service your town part, and parts from your town are going to try to service your city. And it's like a back and forth that you don't need. Eventually, at one point in the next episode, I actually look at the schools, and from the school districts, I actually see, like, I end up putting them in the district only. And there was like 3,000 students in the one school. I put it to only do the city district, and it dropped to like 600. So there was tons of kids that were just out from somewhere else in town that were coming to that school for like no apparent reason whatsoever. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. If you have a lot of traffic in one area, that fixed it as well, because people were driving from this part of town over to the other part of town in downtown just for the point of they wanted to get to school. So there was a ton of traffic every single day around in the morning and then in the evening, because those children were just trying to get to school. Parents were trying to get their children to school. So that's something just to keep in mind there. So if you're having issues with traffic, you might want to start doing some districting, which I guess is what I do here. This might be the final piece of what I do. I didn't know that I did this in this episode. And look at me. What's that called whenever you write something in a book and you're giving context to something that happens later? I'm not sure. So I go through and I add all the districting to this stuff. I actually make a separate center district here. Doesn't include the farms though. I felt like the farms should be under different rules than what the main city center should be under. So I did not give the farms any districting. So hopefully nobody dies on the farms, because currently I have no way for hearses and stuff to get to the farms, which I did not even think about. So hopefully nobody dies on the farms, because everything's set to districts now and the farms are not in a district. So that's awesome. But you'll see here, I start adding things in, making sure that the districts and stuff are all good, and we get this situated. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit that bell button to make sure that you're notified every single time that we post a video. I have been Chase, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out. Peace.